Hi everyone, Megan with Yates coming to you for this week's episode of Nutrition Intermission. We are tackling some conversations around frozen and canned produce. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. And first, we typically see that people do not eat the recommended amount of daily fruits and vegetables because of a few reasons. Typically, it's cost, preparation time, and fear of spoilage. You also may not realize that some of these concerns can be addressed by utilizing frozen and canned foods. And I am here to confirm for you all that frozen and canned fruits and vegetables can be healthy choices for your diet. Before we dive into our canned and frozen food education for today, I do want to take a few moments to connect about a few things I'd like for you to start paying attention to if you're not already when you are purchasing these products. So first, we are going to talk about shelf life. You did hear me allude to this a little bit in our first episode, but I do want to provide a little bit more education about this topic. So the Institute of Food Science and Technology defines shelf life as the period of time during which the food product will remain safe, be certain to retain its desired sensory, chemical, physical, microbiological, and functional characteristics. Where appropriate, it also complies with any label declaration of nutrition data, and when stored under the recommended conditions, remains shelf stable. Both food safety and quality are important aspects of acceptable shelf life. Also, there are intrinsic and extrinsic factors that do affect shelf life. These things include the initial quality of the product, inherent nature of the product formulation, and the processing methods. Also, packaging plays an important role, transportation and storage conditions, and finally, the consumer handling on our end. It's best to abide by the expiration date on any frozen or canned product to ensure a quality product that is safe for consumption. So switching gears a little bit, two additional topics I want to briefly touch on this week are sodium and sugar. We'll likely talk about these more in depth in later episodes, but just a quick tidbit of information here because they are important things to pay attention to. The 2015 to 2020 Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends that we consume less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day as part of our healthy eating pattern. The majority of us do consume more than that, and we typically get the most amount of exposure to sodium from grains and meats, and then other top contributors are processed poultry, soups, and sandwiches. And sugar, on the other hand, the American Heart Association, or AHA, recommends no more than 6 teaspoons, which is 25 grams for women, of added sugar a day, and 9 teaspoons, which is 38 grams of added sugar for men. The AHA also has limits for children, but they do vary depending on their age and their caloric needs, but range anywhere between 3 and 6 teaspoons, which is 12 to 25 grams per day. Unfortunately, the average American does consume approximately 17 teaspoons of sugar every day. This translates into about 57 pounds of added sugar consumed each year per person. So this is just a quick introduction to two important aspects of nutrition labels, but stay tuned for next week's episode because we're going to take a deeper dive into nutrition facts panels and labels and how to read them. So now tackling our frozen and canned products. We'll start with frozen. So the nutritional value of frozen fruits and vegetables is very similar to their fresh varieties. They are frozen soon after harvest, which helps them maintain their nutritional content. The big difference for fruits and vegetables that are frozen comes in if there's anything added to it. For Vegetables, it's typically an added sauce or seasoning, and these tend to increase the fat and sodium content. So be sure to look for varieties that do not have any salt added. That way, when you are preparing them in your home, you can be in charge of how much sodium and additional seasonings that you add to them. Another key point that I want to make is there is a big difference between unsweetened frozen fruit and sweetened frozen fruit. As the name implies, sweetened frozen fruits have added sugars, and it's definitely something that we want to avoid and pay attention to when purchasing. Now, canned goods are our second topic for this section, and I do want to mention that the nutritional value of canned fruits and vegetables isn't as great as fresh products. And this typically is because of the heat used in the canning process. It does deplete some of the nutritional value from the fruit or vegetable, but they do still provide beneficial nutrients, and we can utilize them in our diet. It's very important to look for canned varieties that have low, reduced, or no sodium added. Typically, you'll see this displayed on the label on the can, but you can also check the nutrition facts panel. It's also a good idea to rinse your vegetables before cooking to remove any of the additional added sodium. Again, here, there is a difference between fruit canned in juice and fruit canned in syrup. Again, syrup equates additional added sugars. So try to look for fruit that is canned in either juice or water if possible. So there are many benefits of utilizing canned fruits and vegetables. They are shelf stable, they do store well, you can quickly prepare them, so that is saving us time, which is typically one of the biggest barriers for cooking healthy meals. They are great options as well for when certain foods aren't in season. They are usually less expensive and have a longer shelf life. They also tend to typically be on sale more often than fresh products. So I just want to remind you all to shop for the low or no sodium option and do your best to avoid the added sugars, which are now a required section of the nutrition facts panel. Again, we'll tackle that a little bit more next week, but things that you can start looking for in this upcoming week. So thank you again for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoyed our content and education. I look forward to connecting with you next week, and we will see you soon.